Hey, what's up, guys? This is Martin here from Rip Korea, coming to you once again from the beautiful Poland. Actually, this time I'm recording inside my apartment because it's just way too dark to record it outside. And so, today I want to talk to you guys about a very important matter, something that I don't think I've really discussed about it too much on my channel, but it's about how to deal with a bad past, and specifically about not letting a bad past define your whole life, because it's a limiting belief, it's a destructive limiting belief, and it's kind of like a little plague that's constantly sucking us all the time. It's like that little demon that we have at the back of our mind every single day. And a lot of us have done a lot of terrible stuff in our past. I'm certainly guilty of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys, men and women who are listening to this, we've all done some terrible stuff, whether it will be to us, somebody else, our family member, maybe our life partner, maybe someone that we know, someone that we're really close to, or maybe we've sabotaged ourselves many, many times. And so the thing that you really have to understand with this is that that bad experience that you went through is actually a learning experience. You just have to accept it. It's a learning experience. And we as human beings, we can only really learn from growing, from bad experiences particularly. I don't think we really learn that much from our successes. We learn the most from our failures, our mistakes, and from things that we actually regret. And it's a little bit different to what you might have expected it to be. But negative experiences are the building blocks to a better life. Every single time. Even if you look at the most successful people on our planet, I mean, I could come up with so many examples, but I'm going to come back to it later on this video. But do not let a bad past define you. Do not let a bad past define your whole life. So many people are living with this limiting belief, with this atrocious belief, really, that's killing all your dreams. Every single one of you who's watching this has probably dealt with this at some point in your life. Maybe you failed a business, maybe you failed a relationship, maybe maybe you went bankrupt, you didn't, make any kind of money at some point in your life. Maybe you were homeless, okay, maybe you have maybe your parents were mean to you, maybe you had a terrible childhood, like whatever it is, do not let it define you. That has already happened. That's the past. We can change the past. And just deal with it. I know this is difficult to accept and difficult to live with. It can be really hard, but you can't fix the past. The past is the past. And I remember this one quote from the Kung Fu Panda movie. There was this one amazing legendary quote that still hits hard. It still gives me the chills, by the way. And it went something like, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift from God. Use it wisely. And too many of us are stuck with the past, and it's a destructive belief. We just have to let it go. We just have to let it go. And I personally believe that we as human beings, we only really learn from terrible mistakes. And I can certainly see it from my own life. I've done a lot of bad stuff, not just to myself, but to a lot of people around me. And, they were hurt. They were, I've put them down in so many ways. And I regret it, okay? I had some failed relationships in the past because of me, and it was my fault, or I've failed some businesses in the past. But those moments, all those experiences, do not have to define my past. And it's the same thing with you. Those bad experiences, those bad moments, those bad, maybe traumatic events, they can either help you or sabotage you. You can use them as learning blocks, or you can use them as your little sorrow blocks and become a victim of life. And it's all up to you. It's like that saying, it's all in how you look at things. It's all in our attitude. And, like, just let me give you guys a couple of examples of some amazing people that went through a lot of bad shit in their lives. My favorite example, Sylvester Stallone. I mean, the guy was homeless at some point. He had to sell his dog. When he was writing the Rocky movie, he had to sell his dog for like $300 just to pay for his electricity and utility bills. I mean, that's insane. That's madness. And he actually bought the dog back again once he became famous for like 3 or 4 grand, I think, in like the 80s or 90s. Okay, he was sleeping at the metro station in New York City, at the subway, excuse me, for y'all Americans who are listening to this. And he made it happen. I think he was rejected by like over 1,000 agents across the whole country. But he stuck to his dream. He was committed. He wanted to make it happen. Same thing with the KFC founder, what's his name? Colonel Sanders. I mean, the guy was literally he was literally suicidal at some point. I think he was 68 when he decided to give it one more try. One last try. He failed so many things. I think he had a failed marriage as well. He actually he attempted to sell his chicken beforehand, but nothing was really working. Until that one moment, just before he was about to, let go of everything and, go to heaven, whatever, he decided to give it one more try. And so he started, knocking on doors, trying to sell his recipe, and to make some money out of it. And he made it happen. And now KFC is legendary. Same thing can be said with Oprah. I mean, Oprah is arguably the most famous, most powerful woman on the planet. At some point, she got fired from her job because she wasn't good enough, I think. And then later, she became the very first billionaire as a woman. I mean, that's insane. That's madness. Or Walt Disney, the guy who created the famous Disney company. I mean, he was fired for a lack of imagination. Can you believe that? Harrison Ford, the guy who played Indiana Jones, he was a carpenter in his, I believe it was mid to late 20s, all the way until his 30s. That's when he got his first role in Hollywood. Brad Pitt, another amazing example. Brad Pitt actually used to dress up as a mascot for a fast food restaurant in Los Angeles, just to make his ends meet, just to survive. That's insane too. I mean, Brad Pitt is arguably one of the most famous men in Hollywood, one of the most handsome too. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, okay? Or let's look at someone like Elvis Presley. I mean, Elvis. I'm not sure if this story is true or not, but at some point I think he actually used to be a trucker, like when he was 19 or 20. And one day he actually wanted to try singing. He wanted to be a singer. And you know what this boss told him? Guess what he told him? That he would never amount to anything with his voice. And Elvis ignored him and made it happen regardless. And now he's rest in peace Elvis. I mean, he's been gone for a long time. He's arguably one of the most famous singers ever, if not the most famous singer. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team for being too short. Michael Jordan. Can you imagine that? I mean, the list is endless here. There's so many amazing examples that I can think of people who made it happen against the odds, basically. The odds were against them. The world was falling on them. No one believed in them. But they made it happen regardless. And they did not let their past define their whole life. Or another famous example, Thomas Edison, okay? I have not failed 9,999 times. I've just found 9,999 ways that don't work. Or what's the other guy? Henry Ford as well. Another brilliant example. Or the Wright brothers. The brothers that invented the airplane. Again, no one believed in them. No one believed that we could fly through the skies like a bird or like an eagle. But they made it happen. They ignored the crowd and the people that were around them, their environment. And I can go forever with this. But this is just a little message to you who's watching this. No matter what you're going through, maybe you lost your parents, maybe you're going through a little disease, maybe nothing is really working for you, maybe you failed 10 businesses in a row, really. Maybe you failed 3 marriages, maybe you got cheated on, maybe your man, found a better woman than you, maybe you failed at class in 89. It really doesn't matter what it is. There's always hope. As long as you're still alive, you can still change. Okay? That's the best gift we have as human beings. It's the fact that we're still alive. Yeah, at this moment, you who are watching this, you are still alive. I mean, a couple of days ago, I was at the hospital with my grandma because she's gonna undergo a little heart procedure, like a little heart check. So actually, I had to drop her off at the hospital. She's gonna stay there for a couple of days, and I was waiting on the bench, right at the reception, and we were sitting in line on like this little row, and I was just glancing around, looking at all these old people that were waiting for their time, and all these people, all of them who are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, they would do everything to be young again and have the opportunity that you have right now. Every single one of them. So health is wealth, man. You use your time wisely. And especially if all you guys who are watching me who are under 30 or 40, even if you're older, because it really doesn't matter, because we have technology now, we can accelerate and progress much faster than like in the 90s or 80s, whatever. We have access to such amazing resources. So we have literally access to the best library on the planet. The internet. YouTube, Instagram, Wikipedia, Google. The opportunity here is endless. So just because you've made some fucked up decisions in the past, that doesn't mean that those decisions will define your life. Unless you let them. Unless you let those bad decisions define your whole life. That's it. Okay, it's like your mind. Your mind can either be your biggest enemy or your biggest friend. If you can master this, truly, there's no limits to what you can achieve. There's none. And I've seen this happen time and time again in my own life. And I used to grow up with the limiting belief that I was Polish, because I used to live in Norway, for those of you that don't know. I used to live in Norway. I used to be bullied all the time. I used to be discriminated because I was of a Polish descent. I had a different surname, and I didn't pay attention to them. Even though they were putting me down, they were scolding me for being Polish, they were treating me differently. They were always expressing this demeaning behavior towards me. I never really paid attention to this. Never. I always just did my own thing. Always. And I'm glad I did. I was always different than the crowd for some reason. And I could never really fit in. I always wanted something more out of life. That's why I started this channel 4.5 months ago. And it's looking good now. I really want to make something out of it. I'm tired of just, fitting in and accepting my reality for what other people want my reality to be. I want to live my life. And I think you who are watching this, you're the same way. You're tired of the limited lifestyle, really. The limited life, where you have no confidence, you're not proud of who you are. You're afraid to speak your mind. You're living in comfortable situations that aren't really, the best for you necessarily. You're surrounded by a whole bunch of losers, a whole bunch of toxic people. And your life does not look like the way you want it to look. And I'm with you, man. I can relate to you. I've been there. So just work on yourself. And use that negative experience, or those negative experiences, those bad moments, those bad events, as learning. Use them to your advantage, because you're writing your own story with it. It's going to be a part of your own story when you make it happen. It's going to be a part of you. And that experience, those negative moments in your life, are going to be the building blocks for your future. Because all the people that didn't necessarily go through bad experiences in life, the people who, were the cool kids, especially the cool kids at school, the ones that always had an easy life, they just kind of surfed their way through school. It was always easy. They always had all the attention, all the girls, all the guys. They never really seemed to prosper in life. I would never want to be the cool kid in school, because they grow up entitled. They think they're still cool 20, 30 fucking years later. And their life looks like shit. But us, the people who were bullied, who grew up in uncomfortable situations, who didn't necessarily have the best resources, who didn't have the best people, the best role models, who didn't necessarily have the life path, so to speak, we make it happen. And so that's what it is. Use those negative experiences, those negative moments, and that shitty past that you're embarrassed of, or that you're not proud of. Use it to your advantage, because it's part of you. You're writing your own story. It's just a bad chapter in your book called life. Remember that. Do not let your past define you. It is there for a reason. I 100% believe that all the negative experiences we go through in life, God is doing that to test us. Because He wants to see if we are really made for it. He wants to see if we will either push through the pain, the moments, the struggle, the failures, whatever, or if we're going to give up, which is what happens to most people. Most people, 99% of people, will give up at a slight bit of hardship. So you have to be different. And when you keep pushing through that wall, you keep pushing, keep striving, you keep learning, you keep growing. Your life kind of looks like this. It's not stable. But you do it anyway. You keep being consistent. And eventually, God, the universe, Mother Nature, aliens, whoever created us, they will look down on you or on us and say, this guy, this girl deserves the life that he or she wants. I'm going to give it to them. And I hope it's going to be you. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. This was a little bit of an emotional message from my side. Thank you so much for the support. I see that you guys are really enjoying the videos, and I'm quite fond of that. And so, just comment down below. Tell me where you're from. The country, your city. I would love to know where you guys are from. But anyway, we're going to have the elections quite soon. I hope that, I'm actually a Trump supporter. I hope he wins, because I just love listening to Trump. I think he's a great guy, and I know he's going to make America great again. Shout out to y'all Americans who are following me. Anyway, I wish you guys a beautiful day, and God bless you guys. You deserve everything you want in life. Keep working, have a good plan, and stick to it. and you will be rewarded at some point. And forget about the past. Live in the moment. Have a good one.